What's up, everyone? This is Quentin. I hope you're having a good Sunday today because this weekend has been a little loopy for me. There's something that I want to get off my chest, and as you can see, the car that pretty much blew up this channel is not here because guess what? It is broken yet again. Man, this thing is stupid. So, I was driving back home from work, and this is like a week ago, over a week ago. I was driving back home from work, and I'm cruising at 70, and I felt a shudder, and then the car just stops running. I'm going 70 miles per hour on the highway in gear, and the car isn't even on. So it leaves me stranded on the highway. So yeah, this Corvette, I'll be honest with you guys. I've been thinking about this for a while, but I don't think I'm gonna keep that Corvette. I'm not. It is not worth it. That car is not worth it. I've had that car has been a reliability nightmare since I bought it. I'm not even gonna lie. That mixed with the dealership that I bought it from being absolutely terrible. Screw you, Vestavia Auto Plaza. You guys suck. And I hope no one ever gets business with you ever again. But yeah, that car has been a reliability nightmare. It has left me stranded 3 times since I bought it. And I'm actually pretty frustrated with that car, in all honesty. It's great when it was driving and running good, which was rare. I've had the car for 5 months. And out of the 5 months that I've had that car, it has only ran without any problems for less than 4 months of me having it. 2 weeks after I replaced the alternator, which went out literally like 3 weeks after I got the car, and 1.5 weeks after getting it back just recently, after it stopped starting before. So yeah, that car has not been very well, and it really makes me doubt the reliability of older GM cars. I mean, it could be just mine. I'm not even going to say that. It could just be mine, but I'm gonna be honest. That car is a goddamn lemon. It really is. I really shouldn't have bought that thing. So here's what my experience has been with this Corvette. So when I first bought it, the freaking thing started overheating as soon as I leave the dealership. Okay, as soon as I leave the dealership, it starts overheating. So there was a good introduction to how the car is going to end up being. But it was already too late. I had already bought the car, so I couldn't even take it back. But I take it back to the dealership right after it started overheating. They fixed the issue. Well, fixed the issue. They didn't do a very good job at it, but it's not overheating anymore. Then I get ready to take it out, and I went to go get some gas because, of course, this scummy dealership that I bought it from didn't even fill it up with gas. It was completely empty by the time I bought it, which is really terrible customer service. It really was foreshadowing how the dealership was going to treat me with this car. People's dogs going crazy. But yeah, the car's been garbage since I bought it. So it leaves me stranded at the gas station. That was the first time it left me stranded because it had a little clutch issue. Like it wasn't reading the clutch being pushed down for some reason. I almost thought it was the VAT system, but it wasn't the VAT system. It actually turned out I don't know, the issue kind of just fixed itself. I hadn't had an issue with that in a long time. I even bought a VATS bypass off of I think it was Eckler's Corvette. I bought it from Eckler's Corvette, and I was going to replace it if it had any trouble. But that issue ended up fixing itself, okay? And a few weeks after I get the car, and I'm not even driving it that much in all honesty, because I mean, all honesty, after all the stuff that's happened with it, I was actually kind of scared to drive it. I didn't want to leave me stranded from the starting issue or it blowing up because it gets too hot. Okay? I started getting more comfortable with the car, and I'm starting to drive it a little bit more. I think I been driving it at least 2 times a week back then. Okay? 3 weeks to a month later, the alternator starts having issues. Not even for a month later. And the alternator is overcharging the system. It slowly starts doing it. Like, I didn't notice it was doing it, but it was also giving me signs because the gauges start flickering. When the gauges will start flickering when it's doing it, but it was slowly doing it. And I thought it was just the gauges going crazy at first until the alternator started really overcharging it and putting out like 16 volts. It even got up to 17 volts at one point. I'm surprised I didn't have to buy a new battery. But yeah, I tried to take it to the dealership that I bought it from, see if they can diagnose what's going on. But they pretty much just proved that they don't want nothing to do with that car. They traded it in. The person that traded it in bought a C5 from them, and they just did not want anything to do with that car. They just traded it in so they can take his money. The car was pretty much a lemon from the start. And I really wish I didn't buy it, but yeah. After that scummy dealership didn't want to help me out, I just replaced it myself out here after doing some research. Okay, after I put the alternator on there and I actually get ready to start test driving the car, guess what? I noticed the car is overheating. Well, at least it's trying to. I let the car run for a while and the freaking temperature was like 240, which is way too hot. Okay, I drive it. Alternator is actually doing well. It's not overcharging no more. And pretty much since then, the car was doing great. Freaking, I was actually dailying it. I was driving it way more than a Miata. I drove it at least 4 times a week. Yeah, 4 times a week during that 2-week period. I was actually doing good. And then slowly and slowly, it started becoming and harder to start. And this is when we get to the situation of how I really find out how this dealership was going to be and how they treat their customers. I actually regret putting in a good review for them when I first bought the car because they actually did me a favor. They let me keep my Civic while I was waiting on this car to have its timing belt done. And I appreciated them for that. I really should have kept that Civic, even though it actually messed up right after I traded it in. But that car was too expensive. I needed to get something cheaper. But yeah, 2 weeks of driving, the coolant actually ends up becoming normal. One thing that was happening was that the coolant light would come on, even though the coolant would show that it was full. It had like an air bubble or something inside of it, but it wasn't overheating anymore. But I freaking I was about to get the coolant flush because of that same issue. The week I turned it into the dealership, I called them and asked them if they can do a coolant flush because the coolant is being crazy, and I think there was an air bubble in it, so I just thought it'd be better to flush it out, and I also saw that it was kind of dirty too. So I get the coolant. I schedule an appointment for the coolant, and well, I tried to at least. They said I had to wait for the salesman that sold me the car, which is Kanan, and screw you. I know I'm slowly getting angry about it, but I try to schedule the coolant flush, and they told me I had to wait until the next day to call to get a hold of the salesman that sold me the car so I can schedule it. And then freaking that same day, I'm getting ready to leave work, and the car barely starts. I got lucky that it actually started. About left me stranded at work. It's like, yeah, I need to take this thing to this dealership right now, because this thing is not starting. Then the freaking next day I called them. They said that they were going to be busy. They probably like a week out. It'd be better for me to just leave it over there so they can get to it. Okay. So that Friday, I went ahead and do it. I went ahead and did it right after work. Barely got it started, but once it started, it drove great. It drove fine. Okay. Took it to that dealership. Didn't hear anything from them for about 10 days. I saw the car was moved a while, about that Friday or something like that. So, okay. They're probably working on it right now. Maybe I'll get a call soon. Of course, I didn't get a call. I called them like Wednesday, and see what was they had any updates, and they pretty much just gave me some BS. In all honesty, they said that their tech had like 10 cars he has to inspect before they sell them, and like 30 other customer cars that he needs to work on, which they didn't say anything about that. I mean, if you had that many cars, which you probably pushed up in front of me because you didn't want to work on it, freaking, why did you tell me to drop it off? Well, they probably get to it that week. It's 10 days later, almost 2 weeks later. So that's not even what made me mad. The fact that made me mad was that they tried to make me seem like an idiot. It was like, the car is modified. You have to prime it to get it to start. Our tech got it started, no problem. Yeah, your tech got it started, no problem. But I barely made it out the dealership because the thing wouldn't start. And it didn't do any of that when I first bought the car. So that's how last month went, which was March, late February, early March. Okay. I take the car back to the back over here. Barely made it over there, and freaking my buddy Chris, the guy I was talking about in the last video, he went and picked it up that Saturday. I was about to drive it over to him, but the car wasn't starting no more at all. You saw the video, and whenever I got back, yep, and what about YouTube? And whenever he towed it over there, he got it done, no problem. And about a week later, he contacts me. Actually, no, that Friday he contacts me, showed me what was going wrong with it, and he replaced the parts. The distributor cap and rotor had pretty much broke off inside the system, pretty much. I'll show you guys what happened with it. And then at the same time, the freaking coolant, I had him do a coolant flush too. He said the coolant was absolutely filthy. Crap was brown, it was watery. It's like, dang, you guys sold the car just like that? Man, I should not have bought this car from you guys. I really shouldn't have. But I get the car back, and it's driving flawlessly. Starts up every time. No coolant light. I hadn't seen a coolant light ever since I got it back from him. And it's at his shop right now. And he got it running again after like a week and a half. The car was running great, starting up no problem, didn't show any issues. Feels pretty quick. Hell, even the AC was working. Even the AC still worked on that car, which I was surprised about. But then and as I said before, I was driving it back to the gym from work, and the car just stops running out of nowhere. There's no warning either. No warning. It didn't do anything weird. I'm just cruising with cruise control on, 6th gear on the middle of the highway. It just stops running while I'm on the highway going 70. I had it towed the next day. Well, I had it towed Saturday, and he just now got it running again. It turned out it was the ignition coil inside the distributor, which had pretty much fried and could have burnt the car down. Which, in all honesty, in light of this situation, I kind of wish it did, because it would have been a lot easier just to claim insurance on that car. But I digress. I was actually thinking I was probably just going to keep the car maybe until like summer, or maybe until like next year, early next year. Hopefully I will have had paid it off by then. I was probably just like, I got the Corvette out my system. Something I've always wanted. But I think it's time for me to move on. But nope. I need to get rid of this car as soon as I can, in all honesty. It is turning out to be a huge money pit and a huge problem. Unlike this car, my 91 Miata with almost 100,000 more miles than that Corvette, which starts up every time without any fuss, which is why I love this car, which is why it's always been my favorite car I've ever had. Ain't no other car in the world that I want more than this car. But yeah, that's pretty much been my experience with that Corvette, and why pretty much after it did that, it was pretty much the last straw for it. I'm sorry for you guys who subbed to the channel for the Corvette content, especially the ones who have probably been looking forward to the POV video. I swear, every time I get ready to do one, or I plan on doing one during the weekend, some crazy stuff happens. Whether it's weather or the Corvette breaking, which is mostly the latter. But yeah, that's been my experience with my C4. Pretty much my biggest financial blunder of this year. Even though it's like half the cost of what that Civic was that I used to have. But I should have just kept it and refinanced, or I really should have just got me a Fiesta ST or another Abarth like I was planning on doing. But I got the Corvette Edge, and I was looking at buying a C5, but I ended up getting that C4 because it was like half the price. And it was a manual. Really, the manual was what really got me wanting that car in the first place. But it was a bad choice. If you guys stayed this long, I thank you. I know this is like completely off the wall, but yeah, that's pretty much what's been happening over the last few weeks, the last week or two. And I just came to this decision that the Corvette is just not right for me. At least not that one. Maybe if I had a different one. Maybe if I got one that was like completely stock. And I can't even say in better condition overall, because that car was in good condition. It's just got too many issues at the same time. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like, share, and subscribe if you want to see more content. Probably not on a Corvette, but probably on a Miata, and maybe my next car if I end up getting another car. And if you guys do plan on sticking with me, I thank you.